What's going on, everyone? I'm Jaye the Black. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about the situation with Damian Lillard's sister, who decided to come to his defense when he got into it on social media a bit with Paul George and Patrick Beverley. Apparently, according to the New York Post, he gave an interview and he basically talked about how he's sent Paul George home and sent Patrick Beverley home, because I guess he didn't take too kindly to, Patrick Beverley making fun of him, missing shots. I think we've all seen that clip. Patrick Beverley was beside himself with laughter. As you know, these guys are in the competitive spirit during these times. And let's see. According to the New York Post article, it says, after the Los Angeles Clippers top TrailBlazers 122 to 117 on Saturday, Portland's Lillard spoke about the celebrations from the Clippers' Patrick Beverley, who did not participate in the game over the point guard's missed shots. Asking me about Patrick Beverley, who I sent home before at the end of a game, Lillard said, according to ESPN, Paul George, the guy was sent home by me last year in the playoffs, so they know. The reason they're reacting like that is because of what they're expecting from me, which is a sign of respect, and it shows what I have done at a high clip more times than not. I am not offended by it. Okay? Then Patrick Beverley wrote on an Instagram post, because the post was reposted. It says Cancun on 3 with laughing emojis. And then Paul George said, and you getting sent home this year with a crying emoji, respect with the black fist. Damian Lillard came back and said, keep switching teams, running from the grind, you boys is chumps. So this seemed like a bit of playful competitive banter, right? So Damon's sister, for whatever reason, CL0WNED, I think that's her name, decided to interject herself into it, of course, because, you know, if there's some attention to be gotten, she's going to be in there. Now, I don't know what she's spoken to Damon about behind the scenes. Maybe they've talked to each other about this. Maybe he's bothered by it, because I'm pretty sure he can handle himself. But the fact that she interjected herself could be because she's looking for some attention, or she really felt disrespected, because when you hear her on the video clip, because there's a video clip I saw too on WorldStar, she seemed very bothered by it for whatever reason. Once again, these are men having banter. They probably said worse to each other on the court. All right. So she decided to get into it and call out Paul George's girlfriend. Now, for those of you who don't know who Paul George's girlfriend is, he's dating the woman that he tried to pay off to not have his kid. Okay? The first one, because he had another one with her. And he ended up wifing her up. And I think people still clown him about it to this day. And she said, I said earlier I was going to let that whole Paul George thing go. And Patrick Beverley, because everybody know how my mouth is, how my mouth can get. CL0WNED said via footage from the NBA Central Daily. Because you can't talk, you got a garden tool Skripper pregnant. I mean, she's not lying. You know, he did. He wifed up a chick that was on the pole that he saved, that he didn't want her to have his kids. But he said, you know what, it's cheaper to keep her with me instead of having to go through child support. I'll tell you, a lot of these guys, man, they can't handle the stress of going through, you know, back and forth with these females, man. So they would rather just be in a relationship with them and keep them close instead of having to deal with them, you know, being basically raising the kids on their own and going after, you know, their money. So the girlfriend of Paul George Daniela posted to IG, "Somebody come get this cow," at Lillard. That's gonna make these the body positive community happy. Listen, man. Did she have it? Listen, what the whole thing with Patrick Beverley and Paul George. Patrick Beverley is known to be an agitator, and I think he was trying more than anything to agitate Damian, because he may not like Dame like that. He's competitive with them. He's probably cordial with them, but when they get on the court, he may not like them. Maybe they just have a ongoing rivalry with each other because they're both point guards. Okay, that's how it can be. They traded barbs with each other. The fact that the sister decided to get into it when she really didn't need to, because once again, we don't know what's being said behind the scenes. I mean, there's other things that may be going on that we don't know about. And honestly, she could have stayed out of it, but she decided not to. She wanted to stick up for her brother, which is fine, but it's gonna make him look a certain type of way because your sister is popping off. Now maybe she's used to popping off. I don't know much about it. It's my first time hearing about it. I didn't even know he had a sister. You know? But this is a situation where she seems to be highly emotional and get really upset from the few videos I've seen of her, just hearing her. Like, you could just tell she's just very emotional and intense for no reason. And that to me did not require her to get into it. But be that as it may, Paul George's girlfriend Daniela, in her response, because she really didn't have to say anything, it lets me know that she's still sensitive about the fact that she used to work on the pole. I think she's still sensitive about that. I think that she wants people to forget about that. As long as you're still posting thirst traps on social media, nobody's gonna forget about that. As long as you keep putting yourself out there, trying to get as much attention as possible, people are gonna still bring it up. So you can't get upset that people bring it up when you go on your social media and you're posting thirst traps here and there. And then people are like, oh, she used to work in the club. She used to be on that pole. People gonna bring it up, and you can't get upset about that. That's what you chose to do. You know, you could tell it's a hot button issue. She wants to be legitimized, but we still have not seen her get wifed up. Like, well, she has been wifed up, but she has not become a wife. And I've told y'all, I don't care how many kids these dudes have with these IG model Skrippers, that doesn't mean they're going to marry these women. For him, it was cheaper to keep her. Okay? And he feels like he has eye candy on his arm. So, he feels like, you know what, it's just better off having her, at my side. Instead of her out there raising them kids by herself, coming after me financially. I would rather her be close to me. But again, it's all about decisions, because he had another kid with her. So obviously he's comfortable being with her. But what she got to understand, man, is that she chose that line of work. So people are going to hold it against her. You can't react the way that you do and expect that people aren't going to continue to use it against you, because the way you reacted by calling out the chick for being big, you just garnered a whole bunch of attention that you really did not want. Because trust and believe, the big girl community is probably coming at her. I see that her tweets are limited. She didn't want to block off the comments completely. But the big girl community is going to come at her, because they're going to say that you're fat shaming. And that's what happens when you have these chicks that get mad, they get emotional, they get in their feelings, and they say things that they instantly want to take back. But now that people know that this is a hot button issue with you, every time they get upset with him, they're gonna bring you up. That's just how it is. If you completely moved on from that life, then you shouldn't worry about what this, in your words, cow is talking about. What she's saying about you shouldn't matter, but obviously it matters because you're still insecure about the fact that you did that. You're still insecure about the fact that, he at first did not want to be in a relationship with you like that, but he chose to anyway because it was cheaper to keep you around. In his eyes, he did not want to go through no court. But I guarantee you, when his career starts to wind down, it might be sooner rather than later with Paul George, this is going to become a major issue, and she's not going to want to stick around, because once these players get close to retirement or to not being the players that they were, not considered, the top players in the league, even though Paul George is still putting up numbers. I'm not saying that Paul George is declining in a way, but he has had injury issues. Let's be real. There's going to come a time where his career winds down. He's already been on a couple different teams. Now he is 30, so he's far away from falling off. But what I'm saying is this: there's going to come a time where once his career starts to wind down, that same chick ain't going to want to be there. That's how it is with a lot of these athletes. When they're no longer considered a big deal, these women are ready to leave because they still think they have enough time to go out here and do what they want to do. So I definitely think that, this was a situation that seems to have cooled off. I don't think that they have any animosity towards each other. There may be some competitiveness that's going on, back and forth banter that happens. But I do think that it's interesting that Dame's sister is getting involved in this, because again, we don't know what Dame is telling his family. He might be telling them differently than what we know. That's why she may have reacted the way that she reacted. She took it personal, which she really shouldn't, because it really ain't got nothing to do with her. Like, what if she had an issue with her boyfriend and Dame decided to get involved? She ain't gonna like that. So don't get involved in your brother's business, okay? Because you would not want Dame telling you how, getting into your relationships and trying to play referee or hopping in there to go off on your boyfriend. You wouldn't like that. You wouldn't like him, trying to tell you, about yourself and how your relationships are going. So I just think that she hopped in there because she saw it as an opportunity to be the sister of the player. She ain't the only one. Who's the other one? You have Ben Simmons' sister. She's very opinionated. She's constantly talking about these guys. I don't know what it is about NBA players and their sisters, man. Because there's a couple different NBA players. Their sisters are constantly popping off. It's like, why? It's because they know that they're going to get attention. People are going to talk about them. I'm talking about them right now, but I find this story to be absolutely hilarious, and that's why I'm making a video on it right now.